Hello and welcome to the 9th episode of the Business Gems podcast. Today we're joined by Julie Mann, the happiness coach. Hi, Julie.
Julie.
Hello.
Oh, Julie. How are you?
I am very excited to be here. That's what I am.
Oh, fabulous. Well, hey, thank you for being our guest. And hello to our Business Gem audience. We're so excited you're still supporting us. So thank you so much for that. And today we've got Julie Mann, who is the happiness coach. So I'm really excited for Julie to share her story and also some amazing business gems. So Julie, over to you. So a bit of introduction, and I'm very excited to hear how you became the happiness coach.
I mean, I'm always happy when I speak to Julie.
Always smiling too.
The feeling is absolutely mutual. I have had a like most people. I've had a life of. I've lived a life. I'm now 66, so I've done some stuff. A lot of the stuff I've done hasn't really worked, and some of the stuff has worked. But basically, what I've learned over the course of my life is that people are looking for happiness.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it's at, and different things make different people happy. And after having a life of many habits that didn't really serve me, I've become a habit fixer. So I show people how they can have better habits so that they can have a happy life.
So where did this all start, Julie? So go right back, because I know that you were actor. So
Yes.
Let's talk about where it all started.
Okay, so when I was younger, I never really felt like I fitted in. I actually had warts when I was a kid, and I didn't just have a couple of warts. I mean, my hands were literally covered, and I had a kind of life-changing experience at school because naturally none of the girls wanted to hold hands with me and skip around the playground. And I kind of made a decision at that age, not consciously, but unconsciously, that no one liked me, that I was different, that I was a bit of an outsider, and I'd really never fit in, that there was something wrong. And having made that decision, like I say, unconsciously, it really shaped the course of my life. And I found that I didn't really feel I fitted in anywhere apart from when I started doing some acting. And there I could be anybody and anything. And I felt like there were no limits to me, and I could really express myself. And that was the place that I felt that I fitted in most. And I later became an actor, and I still do some acting. And really, it was great in my acting life, but I found being me, whoever I was, much more challenging. And I remember my dad saying, he's, you know how, I know we're all parents, and we always do our best, don't we? And sometimes we do our best to say the things that, the things that really nurture our children. But sometimes as a parent, we say stuff, we don't realize maybe the impact that it has on our little ones. And my dad said to me when I was a young teenager, I don't know what I was saying, but he said something like dewdrops, because that's what he called me. Dewdrops, if you're not going to say anything interesting, don't say anything at all. And in my young mind, I thought, wow, I'm just so not interesting. So from now on, everything I do everything I say needs to be really, really interesting. So I'd censor the sort of things that I said. It was incredibly difficult. So of course I wasn't being me, because I was kind of shutting down a part of me and trying to be this interesting person. I remember at one stage, I thought, because I had a natural aptitude for accents and things, I just thought, well, if I talk in a different accent, then I'll be really, really interesting. And I remember the stage where I was changing my accent in the course of a sentence. I mean, it must have been absolutely unbearable being around me. But it was out of that comment that my dad made. He had no idea the impact it had on me. But that's the thing that I'm really trying to say, is that I've been shaped by my environment, my people in my environment, people who I thought were important. And I really didn't know how to be myself. So acting fine, being me, not so sure. But because I wasn't able to accept who I was, I developed some habits that really didn't serve me. So I rebelled quite late, not at the normal age, whatever that is. I was in my 30s. And, I was smoking 30 cigarettes a day, drinking too much, taking drugs, having sex with people that, really weren't good for me, and doing all sorts of things. And ultimately, years and years later, realizing that kind of life did not work at all and it wasn't sustainable, that it was down to my habits that had me create the life that I wanted. It was down to the way I took care of myself, the way that my mindset habits and all those things. So it was really through a very painful process and many, many years that I discovered that the key to me creating the life that I wanted or the business that I wanted was through having habits that enabled me to get the result that I wanted.
Do you know, Julie? By the way, thank you so much for sharing that. Honestly, I'm really touched by, the real lived experience you've had, and the story you've just told. Because from my point of view, I always think we are the sum of our past experiences. But what you've done is you've got lived experience. But what you've done is create a business that supports others to help them, and you're coming from a place of you've experienced this, you understand this, and it's how can I help others not become what I don't I've had to unhabit myself from, which because there's no right or wrong. People, you are the sum of your past experiences, but it's about always trying to be the best version of you. And I've really heard that. But what I love, and Jem, you'll resonate with this, what I've loved is you've had that experience and, negative, positive experience. But what you've recognized is, how is this really serving me? What is it I really want to do? And who is it I really want to be? So what you've done is not let the negative experience put you in a box. You are who you are now because you've actually made a difference to other people around you on the back of who you are now. And Julie, I've known you for a while now, and you are the happiness coach. Absolutely. Your title is amazing because it's true. You're the way you bring people with you, but also engage with them, is on a level of absolute true transparency and understanding. Absolutely amazing. But Jem, I'd love to hear, Jem, from you.
So I actually want to point out the fact that we're actually seeing quite a lot across social media at the moment that people are looking at the definition of success. Yeah. And historically it was, you need to be X, Y, and Z to be successful. Now everyone's defining their own success. They're finding what makes them happier. And I actually think the journey that Julie's been on, although people don't necessarily take the same steps and won't have the same path or journeys that they've gone through, every single one of us at some point in our lives will get to that point of, hang on a minute, is the stuff that I'm chasing right now making me happy, or am I chasing what somebody else has told me should make me happy?
True happiness is what you've got to chase.
Yeah, and I love what you said, Zoe, about being the best version of yourself, because I think that's what's important, that we're not broken. There's nothing wrong with us. We're learning lessons as we go. Life is challenging. Every single day, stuff's going to happen. People die, people get ill, people get made redundant, stuff happens. And that is life. And it's about how we relate to life, how we relate to our circumstances, how we relate to that thing that's difficult. But when we actually are able to not embrace it, but actually accept it because you can't change what you can't change. But if we can accept it is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't, and how am I going to be about that, then we have some power. And that's all really, I think, that we can do, whether it's life, business, parenting, it doesn't, all of it. And I think that people who think that life is easy, it's like, who said life was meant to be easy? I remember when I was quite young, and I said to my father, "It's not fair." And he goes, "Life isn't fair, dewdrops." I'm like, "Yes, it is." He said, "No, it isn't." And I was so upset that he said that. But actually, it isn't fair. It isn't fair. But, how are we going to be about that? Not everything's equal. There are people that, are hungry. There are people that, are in desperate situations. Life isn't fair. But how are we going to be about that?
And how are we all going to participate to making a better outcome, shall we say? How are we going to all support each other to help us? Because everyone, and Jem, you said everyone's experience is different. Your lived life is different, and the experience you take, you are the sum of those experiences, because that's who you evolve into. But it's about, and I suppose this is kind of how I look at it. It's my own personal view. It's like I look at a situation and think, right, what good has come out of that situation? What am I going to take out of that? What learnings am I going to take? But how do I personally need to be different next time? And that's the bit I take from, if you like, the learning from a lived experience. And that's how I approach you. You know me, you both know me well. That's how I approach my whole ethos and life and my experiences I have.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important, because what else is there? There's suffering otherwise, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's like, there's always a lesson in something. I am divorced. Was that easy? No. It was really that, we've all dealt with tough stuff. And I didn't want it to happen the way it did, and it happened. And life still goes on. But there's always a lesson. And I think actually, that I hear people complain about, what a waste their life's been, because all those years they were married, what a waste that was. And I think absolutely not. There's so many lessons. And actually, who you were when you met that person, whoever they were, is not the person that you end up becoming. And it's not the person that you'll be after the marriage is over. There's always something, isn't there? And I think that people what's the expression, something about in our lives for a reason, a season. Do you know that
Our life.
What's that, Jem?
People come into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yeah.
I love that saying so much. I also love, in fact, I've got to say it because the stuff that we've been on about, when I actually think about life, there's two words that I remember: that I am, and life is perfectly imperfect. And it's flawed, like utterly flawsome. There is awesome elements of it, but it's not perfect. It is flawed, just like I am. Everything is. Perfection doesn't exist.
No, perfectly imperfect. I absolutely love that, because we are. And, like I said earlier, and we're not broken. There's nothing to fix. But there are certainly different ways that we can be about what's going on. We've all got habits, no matter who we are and how successful, whatever that is, we are. We all have things in our life that are maybe more challenging, and maybe some habits that don't actually serve us. It's not that we have good habits or bad habits. Habits are habits. They just give us an outcome, and we might like the outcome or not like the outcome. So if we keep the habits in place that actually work, then, life will work better. If we keep some of the habits that don't work, like I used to have terrible habits around my eating behavior. I became bulimic for a while. So, I've had some habits that really didn't nourish me. And I think it's really important that we nourish ourselves, I think, mind, body and skin, and we fill ourselves up. And actually habits that help us do that are the ones to keep.
I love that. Nourishing habits. I've got to say, I'm really curious because I know that you're the happiness coach. I also know that you've got your Arbonne B Corp business as well. Because, like you said, it's about the mind, the soul, the body. But I am curious. Obviously, I know you won't share any names or anything, but I'm really curious about what is, say, the number one habit you find you support and help people with, your clients and everyone around you. What's the number one?
Well, it is about identifying the habits that they have that are not really working. You can't actually change a habit that's in existence, but you can create a new one. But I think the thing about habits is it's all about consistency. And consistency is the word, whether you want a successful business or a successful relationship, it's all about doing something that works consistently, isn't it? And as human beings, we find it difficult to do things consistently. You know, like people go to the gym, you know, they're really all over it in January, but come, you know, February and it's raining outside, you know, to actually keep going is difficult. You know, as human beings, I think actually we want to take the easy way out. We want to do the simplest thing, the quickest thing. We want a quick fix, and we can't have that. So I think that's a rather long answer to your question, but I think it's about identifying what's working and what's not working, and doing more of what's working.
All right. Yeah. I was curious because I thought there's got to be, don't get me wrong, I get it. You're going to have really diverse clients with lots of things. But I thought there's got to be, I was curious to see if there's one that always picks up. And actually, the one that you've said is the fact of the consistency piece in all of us made me laugh because I was thinking, yeah, so true. I absolutely agree. Consistency is fundamentally one of the things that unfortunately not all of us are absolutely built that way to consistently make something happen. And I've got to say that that's good, that's really great.
Like so gym Monday to Wednesday and then falling off track until Sunday again and then going Monday to Wednesday again.
You're consistently in the week, it's fine.
That's how I've been saying it to myself. It's like, it's fine, I do 3 days. It's more than I did before.
But you know what? Those 3 days are better than 2 days, or better than 1 day. You know, it's like, it's all good. And I think the really, really
attitude in it, Jules. But I think that's one of the things that every single one of us struggles with, is that positive mental attitude. As humans, it's easier to be negative than it is to be positive about things.
Yeah,
and it's like that we speak to ourselves. And how like impactful that can actually be. And again, even when someone says, oh, you should start speaking positively to yourself, so easy to fall back into old habits. And it is consistently saying, no, I'm ignoring that little voice that's saying a negative something to me right now, and I'm going to fill it with positive instead. And it is constant development. It's not a let's stick a plaster on it and you're fixed.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. Yeah, but also you said there, Jem, something like you should be more positive, whatever. The word should as well. That's a kind of, you should, you know, and that's what we do in our head, isn't it? That sort of judging thing, you know. And I think that whenever we give ourselves a hard time, it doesn't work. We don't feel great. It doesn't make us do the thing. It just makes us feel like shit, actually.
Me and the girls were on about this the other day, and we actually said, isn't it weird how the horrific things we'll say about ourselves and our appearances we would never ever say about anybody else ever?
No. But you know, our mindset is so powerful, and you know, when we start interrupting that pattern, and that is getting into a habit of noticing, oh my goodness, I'm doing that thing again. I'm telling myself that I hate my body. Poor body, you know, this body that's kind of carried me for 66 years. I've been just so critical of my body in the past, and it's just not fair. It's just not okay to my body, you know, my dear body that's you know, been a vehicle to get me through this life so far, and also to carry my daughter. You know, it's like, it's a precious thing, and yet we slag ourselves off, slag our body off, and actually it doesn't really work. And the more we are kind to ourselves, you know, people talk about, you know, being a kind person, but if we're not being kind to ourselves, then, you know, life doesn't, we can't be truly happy, because it is about being kind to us. That's key to happiness.
So how do you start being, right, how do we all start being kinder to ourselves then, Julie?
Well, I think it is noticing, it's becoming aware of what we're thinking. Like when we know, because we're on a loop. I did a post today, it's actually 90% of the thoughts that we have today are ones that we had yesterday as well. We're just on this loop, and that's because our brain is like a computer. It gets something in our head, you know, once we've got something in there, it's just on automatic, like a computer program. And the only way to have a new program is by interrupting it or putting in some new software. And so it's literally about it's about noticing, oh my God, actually I've been really beating myself up for, wow, that must be, I don't know where the time went, but it was probably about 5-10 minutes actually. You know, noticing that and going, okay. And once we actually notice it, we can have a choice to do something else with it. But I think really what's very important is accountability. You know, it might be, for instance, talking about being kind, it might be having a little reminder on the telephone, you know, on your mobile that goes off every hour and says, are you being kind to yourself? It might be something like that, interrupting the pattern, you know, or having an accountability buddy, you know, that's, can, you can report into and interrupt something and create something new. But it takes time because it's a habit. Once we learn that habit, it's like, you know, thank God for habits, because otherwise we'd have to learn to walk every single day.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, memory
was done, wouldn't you? You know, so you know, once we have a habit that's formed, you know, the brain knows best. You know, the brain is in charge, and if you don't work with it, it will sabotage you, especially when things are going well. You know, it'll suddenly sneak in and do something, and you'll go, oh, you know, and the brain's like, you know, I'm in charge. Don't you think you are? Just letting you know.
But you're right. It's about focus on the 95% of the wonderful things, and the 5% is where, yes, we might find elements that we might improve, but focus on the 95%, and that's vital. Well, it's vital for our well-being itself, and I like that. You're right. It is about, so what you've just talked about is creating habits completely. Yeah. I like the phone, by the way, every hour. Hey, Jem, we might look at that one for ourselves.
Well, believe it or not, as soon as you said it, I started giggling because it reminded me of the little notification that I've got every time I log into my online banking that says stop spending.
That's brilliant. And has it worked?
Yeah. I look at it and I'm like, oh, actually, do I actually need to buy this thing? Or that regular Jem thing. I've also noticed as well, so my biggest thing is I catastrophize everything. And when everything's going really well, just like Jules has just said, in my head, everything's going to fall down. Like the house of cards is just going to come crumbling down. But I can feel myself getting into that headspace now, and I notice my breath getting shorter.
Yeah.
So now I probably do look like an idiot because I'm sat on my own in a corner, but I'm actually having a conversation with myself of, right, so you're going to lose all your clients. What proof have you got of that?
Yeah.
What's happened in the past? And then I'll actually reason with myself. But it helps so much.
It's a great habit to have. It really is. You know, because it's half the stuff we say, is it true? Most of it hasn't yet happened.
No, it is literally catastrophizing and thinking of the worst case scenario. And then all of a sudden we've utterly convinced ourselves that that's what's going to happen to us.
Absolutely. And we make massive generalizations about, you know, things that we can't do. But actually, like you say, there's proof that, no, actually, we have been able to do that. So it's about focusing on that. But I guess the thing is as well, it makes a difference. Our environment, you know, does our environment make us happy? Environment has a massive impact. I remember that a few years ago, the plaster had blown on my hall wall. And every time I got out of bed in the morning and went to the loo, I'd pass that wall, and it would just remind me that I didn't have enough money in the budget at the time to get it fixed. And every time I saw it, so it really does matter. Your environment really does matter, and it matters who you surround yourself with. It matters the kind of people that you're talking to. What's that statistic about your income being the sum total of the 6 people do you know that one?
It's 5. The 5 closest people to you are you end up being the product of them, basically. But no, I completely agree. So there used to be a lot of stuff of you can't cut people out. You have to, if they're your friends from when you were younger, you've got to keep them because they've been friends all your life, or the family. And I'm literally just wandering around with my scissors because it's like, look, if you don't make me happy, and like I cut out quite a lot of my family last year, and my viewpoint on that is, you have certain thoughts and feelings on me, and how you treat me makes me feel like I'm second class to everyone else. And it's okay if you feel like that, but I don't have to be around to see it or deal with it. I can just remove myself from that situation. And actually, since removing myself from that situation, I've realized that quite a lot of my life I was in fight or flight mode because I was waiting for the next thing to actually be said to me. And I've noticed naturally, by removing those people from my life, the negative thoughts in my head are lesser because I'm not hearing it as much as well.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's sometimes we can't remove people per se, but we can actually maybe choose to spend less time with those people, and just get that it's not personal. Whatever someone's saying, it's not. It's about them. It's really about them. The other thing that you said, but I don't think you said it consciously, Jen. You said something about people making you happy. So no one can make us happy. No one can make us sad. No one can make us angry. We can react to something they say.
Yeah, we choose.
We choose. And I think that when we get that, we really we have more power, but then we have to take responsibility for who we're being. It's very easy to point the finger, isn't it? I don't think you didn't mean to say that, Jen, because you qualified it by saying something that was the absolute opposite. But that is something that I think a lot of people think. I'm in a relationship. He doesn't make me happy. He doesn't this. You know what I mean? Or she.
It's the situation, Julie, that's not making us happy. And that's the bit we choose to be in the situation, or we choose not to be. But the big thing, listening to you both, that's, I think, really important. So if you think about tribes and the tribal elements, their fires, it's about choosing who do you want around your fire. Vital. Who's going to help you keep your camp in order and support you? Yeah. Who's going to make sure that wood's put on the fire and you're all kept warm? And who's going to absolutely, entertain you, be there for you, and sit around and have a great chat around your fire? And we all choose who we choose. And in different times in our life, those people change, because guess what? We humans, we evolve, evolution. So it means we change with it, we adapt. Yeah. But the thing for me is really, really important, Julie, is the fact is it's all about us choosing. We all have a choice. And that's what I'm taking from that conversation, which I think is fabulous. But can
I just say something about that?
Please.
Because, I love that analogy of the fire. And also I think we have to keep a spark alive in ourselves, because sometimes, that flame that we had that was burning so bright and people could see it suddenly is so diminished. We've just got to keep that flame alive for ourselves. And then, others can help, to tend it as well, because doing life on your own is well, for me, that would be no fun at all. And I'm all about the fun. I know you two are. So, that's
Everybody's feeling my move right now, and I'm not even doing it.
I know, you're showing me well, Jem.
Yes.
Killed me
Oh,
off.
fabulous. No, thank you, Julie. Right, so you started your when you're an actor, you've obviously absolutely amazing going through what your career and how you've ended up here, and obviously you're a happiness coach, but you're all about all of the whole of us, which is really important. So the mind, body, and soul. And I know you also run your Arborn business as well, don't you? As part of that. So what I think that's credible, because what you've done is you're merging two things together that are actually meant to be together. So how did you come to that conclusion? How did you do that when you set your business up?
So can I just tell you how I actually managed to go into life coaching? Because what happened was, I was pregnant with my daughter, Katie. I was actually almost 40. I had her on my 40th birthday. Amazing. And I was doing a voiceover for IKEA. Always loved working with them. And on this particular occasion, I went into the studio to record. And I had this, what must have been, looking back, the hormones. And I had this kind of rush come over my body. And in that moment, I was rendered speechless. And I thought, oh my God. And it scared me so much. It was probably only seconds. And I thought, I hope that doesn't happen again. And it played on my mind and became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Of course, I kept having this anxiety and what I labeled panic attacks. I'd have these panic attacks. And I thought, I'm just this. And then I saw myself in this box of, I'm this anxious person, this is my life kind of thing. And it was gradually shutting down. In the end, out of desperation, I went to see a hypnotherapist, thinking that there was no help for me. And after working with her, I stopped having that habit. And I thought, I was so gobsmacked. I thought, oh my God, if someone could do that for me, what if I could do that for someone else? Brilliant. And so I trained as a hypnotherapist, and then I was seeing clients from home and looking after my daughter. And then I'm doing role play work and voiceover work stuff as well. And then I discovered life coaching, and I liked it more because hypnosis is about giving people instructions, telling people what to do.
Sorry, are you hypnotizing us now? Because I noticed your eyes. My eyes.
Soz about my eyes. And then I thought, but I like the coaching, because as you both know, it's about asking great questions and the person finding their own answers, which are always the answer. They're not going to argue with their own data. Then I discovered EFT, which, if you don't know, anyone listening, watching, it's a tapping technique. It looks a bit odd sometimes. And it's very simple, but it's actually very effective for all sorts of things. So combining life coaching and EFT, I really loved, because I could be really playful. And as I say, that's really important. So seeing clients doing that. And then suddenly my husband asked for a divorce. And I thought, oh my God. I love what I do, but on its own, it's not going to be enough. I need another source of income. And at that time, I didn't think it would be something that I could integrate into my business. I just thought it needs to be something that I can work from my phone around everything else, and it could create me a pension, because I didn't have any pension. So I started that. And but then I realized, oh my goodness, people, we're such synergistic beings, we're connected, mind, body, and skin. I know the skin's on the body, but so it's all about, what you put in, you see on the outside, what you put on the outside, it makes a difference on the inside as well. So being able to help people with products as well seemed really, a really great thing. Some people need help with their gut, which of course affects their mind and their body's function, and also the way their skin is as well. So it's all kind of synergistic, and that's how it really came about. Not as I expected, but then maybe for both of you didn't expect to be doing what you were doing when you were a lot younger.
No, it's like, I think a lot of us fall into because remember, when you have lived experience, you then start to decide what you enjoy, because you're experiencing life. And that's why, I suppose, your mindset from wanting to be, for example, ballerina, fireman, policeman, evolves and changes over time with what you want to do. But I've got to say, Julie, that's a real inspirational story. See, that I love that. The fact is, you want to make a difference every day to people. You honestly, Absolutely amazing. I know that's me and Jen's value as well, to really want to make a difference, to support people in the right way. So I have to say, is no, ignore her. She obviously inspirational. But the thing is that I have to say, Julie, you do look like 20 years younger than you are. I have to say that.
There's no filter. There's no filter.
Hey, audience, if you're looking at Julie now, impressive is all I'm saying. So you definitely need to check her out on LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. But Jem, anything to add before we go on to our exciting question that was left by a previous guest?
Other than I love Jules, I love everything about Jules. I genuinely think she does just make you happy by just having a conversation with you. And I just want to reiterate about the habits thing. It is our own choice how we feel. And if we keep ourselves in situations, we're only going to continue to feel worse. So we need to look at as habits and actually really look at ourselves and see what's serving us and what's not, if we actually want to make some changes.
So well put. And I just want to say, I absolutely love you two. I love what you're doing. It is what is so refreshing really is the fact that you both absolutely love what you do, and that absolutely shines through. And I think that, that's what keeps us younger. That's what keeps us glowing. And it's all about energy, isn't it?
Oh, totally.
Someone, it's about, is their energy a match? That's what you like about people, is their energy. And it doesn't matter whether you're on a computer screen, you're doing a Zoom or a StreamYard or whatever platform you're on. It's about people's energy. And it's up to us to kind of keep that fire going and to nourish ourselves so that we have the energy to really make a difference in the world.
Fabulous.
Zoe, and I'm sorry, but your vibe attracts your tribe.
Hey, well, we all know Jem's tagline on everything. Totally agree. Right, Julie, are you ready? Because you've also got a question for our next guest. So I'm going to start off, and actually the previous guest left two things which we haven't had before. Right, the first thing is, what is the problem you solve? So sum that up in a sentence. What is the problem you solve? Is the question.
That's a very good question. I guess usually people come to me because they're stuck and they're not feeling as happy as they could be. In essence, I help them to be happier by helping them change their habits. Yeah. So it can be from a variety of things. It could be, around the eating behavior or confidence. It could be all sorts of things, but ultimately it's something that's keeping them stuck. So I help them get unstuck and, feeling happier than they did before.
I like that.
Yeah.
Helping people
get out of their own way.
Get out of their own way. Absolutely.
If we do get in our own way a lot, and it is just going,
tell me.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, we've got something else that we've never had asked to be done. So I'm quite excited about this. I'm actually going to make the time a bit shorter, though. I'm going to tell you what it is. So we got asked, could you, the next guest, do a 90-second elevate pitch? I'm kind of going to really stretch you here. I'm going to make it a 60-second. So I'm going to actually time you, and you've got to do an elevate pitch in 60 seconds, Julie. And I'm not going to give you much time to think about it, because I'm about to say, ready, steady, go.
Hello, I'm Julie Mann. I'm the happiness coach, and I show people how by changing their habits, they can change their life.
Wow. Julie, you did it in 10 seconds.
Hey!
I'll send you some Haribo, Jules.
Yeah.
I'll send you some Haribo.
Yes.
So what's the point of saying, what can be said in 100 words? Most people try and say in 1,000, Julie. Excellent. Well done. Awesome. But honestly,
what I do, I usually say I write shiz for money.
I love that. That is memorable.
Oh, I love that.
I have to be good. We're not allowed to swear on podcasts.
Oh, you're very good. So, Julie, what's your question for our next guest?
Okay. What's the one habit that's made the biggest difference in your life?
Well, that's a good one.
I'm a fan.
I love it. That is amazing. And audience, if you've got answer to that question, please put it in the comments below. Yeah, because we'd love to hear. You know, what your habit is. What's your biggest habits make the biggest difference to your life? I think that's an awesome question. Also, audience, if you know or you personally want to make a difference and would like to be a guest on Business Gems, please again put in the comments, reach out to me and Gem. We'd love to hear from you all to find out, you know, what else you would like as well from Business Gems going forward. But thank you so much for supporting us as you always do. It's amazing, isn't it, Gem?
We love you just a little bit. Okay, maybe a lot.
A lot. But no, again, Julie, thank you so much. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you for all you do. Thank you.